Good morning, 7th grade. Hopefully, you guys had a great Wednesday. First off, yesterday we talked about the rise of the Inca Empire and how the Inca Empire was able to come about. We talked about how there was a bunch of different regions. They had to adapt to the highlands, to the lowlands. They all worked together to build this huge empire itself. We talked about how they removed the leaders and they put other leaders in to rule those territories just to make sure everything was on track. We talked about the roles that the kids played. The kids were the ones that taught everybody about the Inca culture, government, religion, and language, which was kind of cool. They trusted the kids to do that. We talked about the mita system, where everyone just worked, and that's how they paid their taxes. They worked, and then they got their goods in return from the government, and that was the mita system. So as the Inca Empire grew and flourished, things started to happen. We already know that there's going to be eternal rebellions because people, once they get taken over by other people, they may not like to change and they may not like to be involved with this. So things are going to take a turn. So today what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about how the Inca Empire kind of got taken over by the Spanish people. And they are very similar to the Aztecs, so we'll go ahead and cover that. But first, let's go ahead and review the questions from yesterday. Alright, number one, how did the Incas control the government and language? So the way they controlled the government was they brought in new leaders. They replaced all the old leaders and put in new leaders that were loyal to the Incas. They also took the children, moved them to the capital, and the kids would learn everything about the Incas and then go back to their tribes and teach them. Another thing that they did was their language. Since everybody spoke different languages, they needed to have one uniform language. And this language that they brought in was called Quechua, and that was the native language for all Incas. Number two, how did pre-Inca civilizations adapt to their environment? So the people, the way they adapted to their environment was in the mountains, they built these terraced or flatlands. They cleared the land so they can build farms in the mountains. In the south, in the coastal areas, in the deserts, they built irrigation systems. And in these irrigation systems, they brought water from the mountains into these deserts. Number three, do you think the mita system was a good government policy? It could be yes or no. I personally think it was a great idea because now the resources that they had, it was like a team, it was a community. This is what a community was. Everyone worked together and all the things they needed, the resources, they were distributed evenly and effectively. So everyone got what they needed. If you said no, possibly the reason why is because maybe more people had they didn't have as much freedom because all day they were working for good. So either way, as long as you explained your answer, that's what really mattered. So like I said, today we are going to talk about how Pizarro or the Spaniard comes and conquers the Incas. So let's go ahead and get into the content. So in the Inca Empire, they had a civil war. And a civil war is when they fight against each other. So they had a civil war in the Inca Empire about 1530. And after the Inca ruler died, his two sons, Atahualpa and Huascar, they started to fight. And they wanted to fight to see who was going to be the new ruler. Remember, one ruler dies, open field, let's go and fight. The strongest person is going to be the ruler. And that's exactly what happened. During this war, Atahualpa, he actually won the war, and he became the ruler. As you see, he became the ruler of the Inca Empire. But with this war came a lot of destruction, and pretty much all this fighting weakened the empire, which led to opportunities for other people to come in. So, enter this other guy. When he was becoming crowned the king or the ruler of the Inca Empire, Atahualpa, he got news that the Spaniards has actually landed and came to Peru. And one of these Spaniards that came, these were conquistadors, the people that try to conquer people who want gold, money, land, and to convert people to Christianity. They arrived. This guy's name was Francisco Pizarro. And Pizarro, he was amazed at the way they were building things. Just like how Cortez was amazed with the Aztecs, Pizarro was amazed by the Incas and how they were able to build these civilizations in the high mountains and everything like that. So, when Atahualpa found out that Pizarro was coming, he decided, I want to go and meet this guy. So when they actually met, the Spaniards told Atahualpa, we need you to convert to Christianity. That's why we're here. We want you to convert to Christianity. Atahualpa, if you remember, the Incas were very religious. They had their own religion. And he pretty much said, yeah, right, we're not going to go ahead and follow your Christianity. We have our own gods. We have the gods of the sun, gods of the corn, god of war. These are the people that take care of us, not your Christianity stuff. So When that happened, Pizarro took offense to this, and he was really mad, and he started to attack all the Incas and saying, no, we're going to attack you, we're going to punish you for not converting to Christianity. During this time, thousands and thousands of Incas were killed, and sooner or later the empire was getting captured. And the reason why they captured was because they captured Atahualpa, the leader. So when Atahualpa was captured by Pizarro and his men, and he saw that all his people were getting killed and the Incas were getting taken over, he decided, well, I know what we can do. We can just give them all of our money and all of our gold, all of our jewelry, statues, and maybe they'll agree to just leave us all alone because we'll just give them everything we want. And that's something that the Spaniards wanted. They wanted jewelry. So what Atahualpa did was he got all the gems, all gold, all silver, all statues, and he filled a room full of these goods. And he said, this is for you, Pizarro, everything you wanted. Crazy thing is that if you were to melt all the precious metals and all the jewelry and all the statues, it would equal to 24 tons of this metal, which is a whole lot of gold and money. Pizarro was amazed. He was like, oh my gosh, these people are rich. I'm gonna take it all. And what he did was he took all the gold, all the jewelry, all the silver, all the statues, and said, okay, Atahualpa, your job is done here. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to have to kill you. And exactly what he did. He killed them. And pretty much what happened was when they got killed, some of these Incas started to fight back against the Spaniards. But the Spaniards were way too powerful, and they were able to defeat the rest of the Incas, and they gained control of the entire region in 1537. So when the Spaniards defeated the Incas and gained control of the region, there was a lot of similarities between the Incas and the Aztecs. Just like these two dogs, there's a lot of similarities between two of them. That's exactly what happened. So some of the similarities that they had. Both empires were fallen, and they all pretty much had eternal problems when the Spanish people came. Remember, in the Aztec Empire, not a lot of people liked the Aztecs because they treated them badly. In the Incas, they had a civil war, so they weakened themselves. So they all had internal problems when the Spanish people arrived. The second thing they had in common was Cortez and Pizarro. They both went straight for the leaders, and they were able to take down their leaders. And back then, these empires, the Aztecs and the Incas, they were powerful empires, and no one really could take down their leaders. So when these Spanish people came and took down their leaders, they thought like, oh man, these guys are really powerful, godlike, and how are they able to take down our kingdom by capturing our leaders? The third thing that they had in common was they both had guns, horses, better weapons, and this was a huge advantage to the Spanish because these empires, or these Aztec empires and Inca empires, all they had was bow and arrows and spears, and they couldn't really fight against the guns and the horses. And the last thing that happened, probably the worst of all, they were all weakened by the diseases that the Spanish people brought over. Okay, so after defeating the Aztecs and the Incas, the Spanish began to take over all the land, and the Spanish, they pretty much ruled South America, North America, and Mesoamerica for the next 300 years. So if you're wondering, why does most of these people speak Spanish or have some type of dialect? It all because of the Spanish that came and conquered all these people. So that's how these Incas and empires were the same. So today we talked about how the Inca Empire was taken over by Pizarro. We talked about how there was internal conflict between Atahualpa and his brother Huascar, and how they fought to become rulers of the empire, but they eventually weakened the empire. We talked about how Pizarro came and he wanted to convert everybody to Christianity, but nobody wanted to convert, so he started to kill everybody, and they took Atahualpa hostage. Atahualpa said, we have our own religion, we're not listening to you, so don't kill our men. Instead of killing our men, I'll give you all the gold and all the jewelry that we have. Filled up a room. Pizarro saw it, said, oh, thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and take that, and I'm also going to kill you. When he was killed, they realized that, what the heck is going on? Our leader was killed. The Incas go ahead and fight back. Unfortunately, the Incas were no match for Pizarro and his men, and they all were done for. They had a lot of similarities, like as the Aztec Empire. Both empires had eternal problems. Both empires got their leaders killed. They were both overtaken and overpowered by the guns and the horses. And they were both weakened by the disease that the Spanish brought over. For homework, I want you guys to answer these 3 questions. What events led to the end of the Inca Empire? So you can go ahead and do it by steps. What happened to cause the end of the empire? Number 2, how were the conquests of the Incas and Aztecs similar? So what were the similarities? And number 3, predict what might have happened if Atahualpa had accepted converting to Christianity. So if they were to become Christians, would the Spanish have still conquered them? Or would they have not conquered? Would they have become allies? I don't know. What do you think? I know what I think, but I can't tell you until probably Friday morning when we talk. So those are your questions. So that concludes our lesson for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and hopefully you guys learned something new. If you guys have any questions, feel free to message me. I'm always here to help you guys. If not, I hope you guys have a great Thursday, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys all tomorrow morning, Friday at 10 a.m. for another Zoom class. Have a great day.